latest with Al?
He's feeling a little bit better as we've inched towards game time, but won't play. I'd say a wrist sprain. I don't know exactly the level, but it doesn't sound like it's it's not going to cut into any of the early part of the season. It doesn't sound like. He's going to see our doctor, and we'll get final word on that. We might be seeing him right now.
Do you know when he did?
He said sometime in the first quarter of the Charlotte game, but he doesn't remember. So he just felt it getting sore, and then by the end of the half it was, and so didn't play him in the second. Won't play him tonight, and there's a chance I'd say he probably could play on Tuesday based on what we know so far.
Who takes his place in the starting lineup?
Baines.
Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart's back. He'll play.
Fred, one thing that really stood out from your first game, you guys launched a lot of threes. Is that an emphasis for you guys to shoot more now that you have kind of more skilled guys with Gordon back?
It's never been an emphasis over getting a layup or getting the paint threat. I thought our offense was bad the other night. So, we've got to do a better job of trying to attack the paint and making plays that come off the pass. We didn't. The other night we had 12 assists. So we've emphasized that in the last 48 hours, and we'll see if we move it a little bit better.
You're saying you don't mind the threes, just mad at the point is how they come?
Yeah, we've got great shooters, so we should be shooting the open ones all the time. And the key is we don't want to shoot any early contested jump shots, right? Those are hard shots. Obviously, each guy's got strengths, and it's unequal in some ways what certain guys have the ability to do what they do best. But at the end of the day, we've got to do a great job as a group searching for our best shots. And we've talked a lot about that. Guys have been really good about it. I think anytime you're playing your first game and it's 3 days in, you're probably going to have a little bit of that. But we had our moments where we played pretty well the other night. But we don't want to get caught taking those tough ones early.
Will minutes be up a little? You said 20 last game.
2 days ago, I don't know. I don't think it'll be much different. Don't hold me to it, but I would say that we'll probably be maybe one more stint, but not much more than that.
I mean, did Gordon make it out okay? Any soreness?
Yeah, he's had nothing, no issues, and he's gone through everything since Tuesday.
Are those conversations you have with him about kind of getting his swagger back and just getting back to being him when he's on the court?
Not worried about that part. I think the biggest thing is getting the habits back, offensively and defensively. He's still feeling it out again. He was just figuring it out when we headed to Cleveland for game 1 last year. It probably took him as much time as anybody, and now he's had another year where he hasn't played. So it's going to be a process. The reality is we've got a lot of really good players, and figuring out how to complement each other is going to be a big step for this group. We're not there yet, nor should we be on day 5.
Do you like this preseason schedule, the flip? Are you guys anticipating that coming into the season in terms of the games being right at the beginning of the exhibition season?
I probably wouldn't vote for it, but it is what it is, and so we'll just, you have to play them at some point, so you might as well use them as opportunities to condition and see where you are. And there's always great lessons out of the game. Like I thought that the other day, like I said, we did a lot of great things. You leave more encouraged than discouraged, but there were some glaring things that we have to get better at. So that's the positive when you start playing against somebody else. But we're not, we're very much treating this like the first week of practice, and hopefully we can play a little bit better tonight than we did the other day and just keep that trend.
Brad, assuming they're good threes, well developed, are you a believer in the math about the threes and just, going that way? A lot of teams are,
of course.
Hard
hard for me to argue that one.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, nobody would choose it over a layup. If you got a layup with 3 guys 7 foot jumping trying to block it and you're trying to go through them, you probably should pass it. But at the end of the day, if you can get fouled or get a layup, that's the most efficient thing. And then the inside-out kick-out 3 is what's next.
That whole idea seems to really develop more in college, and then it's come to the NBA because I guess the college line being closer or something like that. Is that something you've been big on, or did it develop?
I think it's just something that everybody is kind of trended towards. The one thing that I will say is, Europe obviously played very skilled for a long time. The NBA is playing super skilled and really not losing much height. So they're calling it small ball, but there's not a lot of difference in height per se or length. But when you're in college, especially when you're at the mid-major level, you play small a lot, and so having 4 shooters out there is a way to try to balance the strength and athleticism of the bigger schools. But we're all looking for layups and dunks and wide open threes, but it just so happens that's why everybody's switching now and why everybody is late switching and everything else, because everybody wants to guard that stuff. So you have to be able to do a lot of things.
The league made a point of emphasis of grabbing the screeners on switches, and that was called both ways a couple times in the first game. Is that something you guys are working on in your switching schemes?
We've been talking about it since that word came out. It's going to be a real big emphasis, and it's going to be something we got to get better at. You got to play lower. You have to do your work early, and if you grab and hold a cutter or a guy trying to run off of a screen, or the screener as he's slipping to the rim, guy rolling to the post, then it's going to be called. And you know what? It'll be good for the game, because it just opens up so many more options for attacking switching. Because at the end of the day, you're going to see a lot of that.
How did your players react when that came down? So you have a lot of guys that have kind of mastered the art form with well-timed grabs and stuff of that nature.
I think the whole league has. So I mean, we don't start the season saying, okay, grab somebody. You start in a stance and you get low and you make appropriate and legal contact. But I think it's good, and it certainly prioritizes the skill of the game, and that should be a priority. And at the same time, it's going to really demand defensive technique be excellent. Thanks.